But we're keeping our fingers crossed. We've had a few glitches. We've been trying and trying for the last 5 minutes to get this going. Anyway, I'm assuming that we're live on air. So, hi everyone. My name is Rosemary Altea, and this is our first live hangout. I will insist on keep calling them hang-ups because I'm still not got the hang of it yet. But anyway. So what we're trying to do on these Hangouts is we're trying to organize virtual meetups so that people can get to know me a little bit better and I can get to know you all. Now today we're not taking questions, we're not interacting with anyone because, as I've said, this is our first time. But after this first time, we will be taking questions from people. You'll be able to interact with me, and we should have a really, really good time. I just wanted to let you know today what we're planning. We're planning on celebrating the day after tomorrow, which is May 19th, which also happens to be my birthday. We're planning on celebrating the 20th anniversary of my first book, The Eagle and the Rose. I can't believe I'm that old. I can't believe it's been 20 years since that happened. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually publish right now the day after tomorrow is the official publishing date of The Eagle and the Rose audio. So if you want to know more about that or about me, email us at rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and that's my office, and we'll try to answer any questions that you have. So that's a bit of exciting news. I'm reading the book, so you will hear my dulcet tones reading The Eagle and the Rose, which happens to be probably the most favorite of all of the books that I've written. It's the one closest to my heart because it's the one that introduces me to the world and to all of you. All right, so we're going to be organizing meetups, and you'll hear about these meetups either on my Facebook or on my meetup page. And on the meetup page and on Facebook, it's going to be telling you what I've got planned for the near future. For instance, in Sarasota on the 12th of July, I think I'm doing a little something with an audience of people, talking to the dead, which is what I'm all about, talking to dead people who I don't believe are dead at all. So that's a little bit exciting. And we'll be doing more stuff with the different organizations around the Florida, Sarasota area, particularly, which is where I now live. What's the point? Now, what's the point in my doing this? What's the point in talking to the dead? What's the point? People ask all the time, why do you do it? Do the dead, and I use the term dead loosely here, do the dead actually tell us anything of any importance? I mean, do they give us any information that might be world-shattering or interesting in any way? What's the point? So I thought I'd tell you a little story which illustrates the point. And that story is about two teenage girls whose mother died very tragically quite a while ago. And their grandmother called to talk to me. She wanted to see if I could connect with her daughter because her grandchildren, these two teenagers, were having a very, very tough time and had a very, very tough time throughout their young lives. Finally, they went to live with their grandmother, who had very much their best interests at heart. And she felt that the only person who would be able to get through to them and help these girls in their lives would be their mother. Very strange. If you don't know much about life after death, if you don't know much about the idea of talking to the dead, it is a strange idea to try to contact a dead mother in order that she can help her children. Well, it happened that these two teenage girls one was badly cutting herself, having a lot of very emotional problems. The other was having problems at school, difficulties with school and so on. And, you know, they were really struggling. And part of their struggle had to do with the fact that since their mother had died in prison, as it happened, since their mother had died, they'd struggled with the idea of you know, being left alone, being abandoned, not having a strong father figure, and being shipped from family member to family member, and it was difficult for them. So they were having all this emotional trauma and difficulty until the day they came to see me. Now, when I say came to see me, they came to see me actually through FaceTime, I think it was, so through FaceTime or Skype. So they were able to see me, I was able to see them and their grandmother, and we spent probably a couple of hours on the phone. I did manage to get hold of their mother, and their mother had lots and lots and lots of good things to say to them. And also, as all mothers should, she had lots of stern things to say to them as well, guiding them, steering them, helping them to understand what had happened to her and helping them to understand what was happening to them. We had, that was several months ago, we had an email in the last couple of weeks from the grandmother giving us an update, because I always ask my clients, you know, especially if they're having traumas or difficulties, can you give me an update? You know, let me know how you're doing, let me know how you're going on. And we had a wonderful update from the grandmother, who told us how one of these teenage girls was excelling in school, excelling, very bright, doing really, really well, and how the other teenage girl was excelling in music and music studies. Both these girls had, let's say, leveled out. All teenagers have troubles of one kind or another, of course. That's what teenagers are about. But these two girls had settled down. And one of the main reasons why they settled down was because they knew with absolute certainty from what had been said to them and from the evidence that was given through me from their mother, they knew with absolute certainty that their mother was with them, guiding them, steering them, and keeping them safe. So, you know, what's the point? Well, the point in that case was for a mother watching her two children struggle through life, wanted to help to put them on the right track, wanted to let them know that she was their angel, wanted to steer them in a good direction so that their future was secure and their future was fulfilling, and they were fulfilled. And that was a wonderful thing for that mother to be able to do. So many times I talk to people for different reasons. I'll talk to parents of those children who have committed suicide or they have been murdered. I talk to parents of children who not dead, but are going through all sorts of life's traumas and difficulties, looking for advice and help from those people in the spirit world to guide and to steer. And it's a very fulfilling thing to be able to do. Through our virtual, whatever this is, our virtual meetups, we're going to be talking about those things, important things like, you know, how can the dead help the living? We're going to be talking about healing and how we are all born with the gift to heal and how we can use that gift in whatever small way we can. We're going to be talking about the many different facets of this subject. And I'm looking to all of you, those of you who are going to be joining us in these meetups, I'm looking to all of you to text me, email me, let me know in one way or another what subject you'd like to talk about, what questions do you have, and through your questions we can talk and actually help other people. Speaking a little bit of healing, I went to a meetup last Thursday, in Sarasota, which is in Florida, for those of you around the world who don't know. And I was at a wonderful church with a wonderful lady, the Reverend Elizabeth, who allowed me to use their facilities. And when I walked in, there was a young boy. I'm not quite sure of his age. His name is George, and George has Down syndrome. And George was very vocal about what he did like and what he didn't like. And when he first took a look at me, I don't think he liked me quite. Was nervous of me and held on to his mom and, you know, just wouldn't have too much to do with me. However, I'm not the kind of person to let something like that go because, you know, looking at George and looking at this beautiful boy, I realized instantly what tremendous healing power this child has. Now, how can a child with Down syndrome have a gift like this? Why not? How can a child with Down syndrome understand how to use this gift? But he doesn't need to know the details. He just needs to feel. He just needs to be. And this boy, George, was continually giving hugs to his mother. I like to say healing to his mother. And he was giving hugs to other people that he knew. So at one point, I started talking to him, and he started to like me a little bit more and get a little bit more friendly with me. And his mum said to him, George, would you like to give Rosemary a hug? And he immediately said yes, gave me this big hug. So I said to him, George, you've given me a hug. Can I give you a hug now? And he looked at me, and I don't think anyone else had ever said to him, can I give you a hug? So I was a bit nervous. I said, I'd like to give you a hug. Can I give you a hug? And he came into my arms and I gave him a hug. And what that was all about was him giving healing to me without even consciously being aware of it. And about me, of course, consciously aware of it, giving healing to him. And healing is like that, holding someone's hand, just touching someone's shoulder, or putting your arm around someone when they're in distress. Healing is a thought, a giving of love, and a giving of your own self, even if it's only for a moment. So we'll be talking about these things. Now, this is the moment that I would normally say, okay, any questions? And I'm hoping that as you're watching this, that some of you are thinking, oh, I wish I could ask her this, or I wish I could ask her that. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question of all of you. My question to all of you is, what would you like to see? And what would you like to do? And how would you like these meetups to go? We're going to be working on doing virtual workshops. We haven't quite got there yet. As I say, it took us 5 minutes to get this far on this little thing. We couldn't figure it out, but now we have figured it out. Okay, we're good to go. But we're going to be doing virtual workshops. So if any one of you is interested in those things, or any one of you is interested in anything at all, feel free, please, to let me know. Email me at rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. I'm hoping you all know how to spell my name, and now you know how to say it. And I'm going to be looking forward to hearing from you. I'm going to finish with another story. This story concerns a young man who lives in Australia, and he has no idea that I'm going to be talking about him. And his name is Mitchell Coombs. And Mitchell is a spiritual medium and has been working as a spiritual medium, I think, since he was 17 years old, something like that. I'm very impressed with this young man who is I think in his 30s now. I'm impressed that he can stay up until goodness knows what time talking with me on FaceTime for 4 hours, which is what happened the last time we were talking. He and his partner were on FaceTime with me, and at about 4 or 5 in the morning my time, which was a good time for him in Australia, I actually said, okay, I need to go to bed now. But I'm a late night person and I'm a night owl, so I will often stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning. But Mitchell has a sense of the soul, and he has a sense of doing the right thing, and he has a sense of trying to tell people what is rather than what they would wish him to tell them. We have a lot in common, Mitchell and I. He's much younger than I am. When I look at him, I see my path all those years ago, when I made a determination that I would tell people not what it was that they wanted to hear, but what it was that they needed to hear. My spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is here with us today and is always with me, taught me a long time ago, when you talk to someone and you tell them certain things, the information coming from the spirit world, obviously, you're not necessarily telling them what they want to hear, but you're always telling them what they need to hear. And Mitchell has that sense of what people need to hear as opposed to what people want to hear. So I want to say hello to Mitchell. And at some point, hopefully in the future, Mitchell and I will be doing these things perhaps together. I'll be interfering with his virtual meetings, and I might allow him to be interfering in my virtual meetup. So that's something for you to look forward to. If you want to know any more at all about where we are, what I'm doing, please check in with meetups, check in with the email, check in with Facebook, check in with us, and we'll let you know all about it. I think one more story might be called for. Today, I had an email, very strange email. My assistant Carolyn, who's here with me, she said to me, Rosemary, we got this very weird email this morning. And I said, well, read it to me. And she said it began, Dear Rosemary, this is your ex-sister-in-law. Now, I haven't heard from my ex-sister-in-law for probably 40 years. And I sat up and said, what? What is that? It's strange how things are sent to you, how things are given to you, sometimes out of the blue. Unexpected things happen to you. You hear unexpectedly from people you never thought you'd hear from again ever in your life. I do have to be honest and say that the email wasn't particularly welcome. And I didn't particularly like many of the things that my ex-sister-in-law had to say, and didn't necessarily believe much of what she had to say. However, there is always a silver lining, because I immediately FaceTimed my brother and his wonderful wife, Jean, to tell them, guess what happened to me this morning? Well, we continued chatting for a good 15 minutes. It was lovely to see my brother. It was lovely to talk to Jean. It was lovely to catch up with them. And that wouldn't have happened so quickly, so soon, had I not received that email that I am going to ignore. When opportunities present themselves to you, don't be afraid to take them. When something comes in front of you and you wonder, why, what's going on, don't be afraid to be brave. Don't be afraid to say, all right, well, I don't want this, but maybe this is leading me to something else. Because God and our loved ones in the spirit world, they give us little messages, they give us opportunities, they send us opportunities to do all sorts of things. And when we hear that little voice in our head which says do this, do that, or when we are guided or pushed even sometimes into thinking about something we don't want to think about, or pushed into doing something that we don't necessarily want to do, if we see it as an opportunity rather than as a chore, if we see it as an opportunity and we seize the opportunity, usually something really good comes out of it. Listen to your intuition, listen to your instincts, listen to that little voice that's inside of your head, listen to your angels, because they will never steer you wrong. When I received the email, my first instinct was call your brother, which I did. And that was a great thing, because that was my opportunity to talk to him, to see how he's doing, to talk to his wife, Jean, who is my present and wonderful sister-in-law. And it was an opportunity to have that 15 minutes with them. Always listen to your instincts. Always listen to those voices. Always grab onto the opportunities, because those opportunities are sent to you from your loved ones in the spirit world. We'll be talking more. We'll be doing this more. I'm looking forward to our next time. I'm looking forward to the lots and lots and lots and lots of questions that you're going to be sending that we'll be able to answer. And I'm looking forward to being able to talk to some of you on personally, because if you send your emails and your questions to me and you give me your name, I will be talking directly to you. Not all of you, because there are far too many of you, but I'll do my best to get to as many questions as I possibly can. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. And please, as I've said, if you need any more information about the virtual classes, if you need any more information about the virtual workshops, if you need any more information about our virtual meetups, which are going to be happening hopefully on a regular weekly basis, if you need any more information on all of those things or anything else at all, please let me know. I'm checking with my wonderful assistant Carolyn, who's standing here. Did I miss anything out? I didn't miss a thing, apparently. Wow, I didn't know I was that good. So please check in on Meetup, check in on FaceTime. We will be putting up the next virtual meetup. Can't believe I'm doing this. I thought I was far too old to be doing all this stuff. My daughter calls me a dinosaur. I'm not technological at all. I'm so sorry that we were a few minutes late, but we'll try better next time. Until then, God bless you all.